One day, Paddington bought himself a camera in the market. It had a tripod and a hood to keep out the light, and there was even a book of instructions. Altogether, it seemed very good value indeed. So after taking a quick bite of a marmalade sandwich, he got ready to take his first picture. There was a very interesting chapter in the instruction book on taking action shots. But it wasn't as easy as it sounded. In the end, he decided to take a family group. It seemed much safer. "I hope he's not long," said Mr. Brown. "I've got cramp coming on." "I wouldn't move if I were you," said Jonathan. "We'd never hear the last of it," agreed Judy. "He's only got one plate." "I've only got one leg," groaned Mr. Brown. "Shh, Henry," said Mrs. Brown. "I think he's doing something." Paddington consulted his instruction book. "I have to measure the distance," he announced. "I'll use this piece of string. If I don't measure the distance properly, I shan't know how far away you are, and you may come out all blurred." "I'd sooner be blurred than have my ear pulled off," grumbled Mr. Brown. "Ooh!" "I'm afraid bears' slip knots are a bit hard to untie," said Paddington. "Anyway, I think I shall have to ask you all to move. The sun's in a different place." "Perhaps if one of us took it," said Mrs. Bird, "you could be in the picture yourself." Paddington considered the matter over a marmalade sandwich. "I shall press the shutter," he announced, "and then run round the front." "Even bears can't run that fast," murmured Mr. Brown. Paddington gave Mr. Brown a hard stare through his lens. But as he did so, something very strange happened. "What on earth's he up to now?" exclaimed Mr. Brown. "He looks as if he's practicing for the ballet or something." "Mind my petunias." "Too late," groaned Jonathan. "Are you all right?" called Mrs. Brown. "I think so, Mrs. Brown," said Paddington, "except I've pressed the shutter by mistake. I'm afraid I've been having trouble with a bumblebee again. It must have been after my marmalade sandwich. Perhaps I'd better finish it before anything else happens." No one, least of all Paddington, expected his photograph to come out. But to everyone's surprise, when the plate was developed and printed, there was quite a clear picture. "Not bad," said Mr. Brown. "Not bad at all. What is it?" "Take a look in my window," said the man. Paddington hurried outside in order to see for himself. Apart from his photograph, there was a label. It said, "Picture of a bumblebee, taken by local bear, both very rare." One day, Mr. Gruber took Paddington on an outing to an auction sale. He bought a catalogue of the items to be sold, and then found a seat near the front, so that they would have a good view of all that went on. Paddington decided straight away that he liked auction sales. It was all very friendly. In fact, he hardly had time to sit down before someone waved. So he waved back. Then another man waved. £3 on bid. So he waved at him too, and then raised his hat several more times for good measure. £4 I'm bid. £5 over there. Going, called the auctioneer, pointing at Paddington. Going, gone. But I've only just got here, exclaimed Paddington. Don't worry, said Mr. Gruber. That's the auctioneer. He's just sold something. Paddington gave the man a hard stare. I hope it's not that table, he exclaimed. It must be full of dents by now. Lot 65, 1 carpentry set, sold to the young bear with the sandwiches for £5. £5? Exclaimed Paddington. For a carpentry set? But I've only got 10p. Mr. Gruber reached for his wallet. I expect it was because you waved, Mr. Brown, he whispered. You see, if you nod your head or even scratch your nose at an auction sale, they often think it's a sign you're interested. Paddington sat very still, hardly daring to breathe, let alone nibble his sandwich, in case he bought something else by mistake. What am I bid for this old highwayman's pistol? Called the auctioneer. Once the property of Dick Turpin. I think I might try for that, whispered Mr. Gruber. I've been after one for ages. Come along, who's going to start the bidding? £10, called someone at the back of the hall. 11, called Mr. Gruber. 12, shouted the other man. Oh dear, said Mr. Gruber. I hope I don't lose it, Mr. Brown. £13. 14, shouted Paddington. Any advance on £14? 15, shouted Paddington wildly. £15, called the auctioneer. Going, gone. Sold to the young bear gentleman on my right. Mr. Gruber began to feel that perhaps taking Paddington to an auction sale wasn't such a good thing after all. Perhaps I'd better not do any more bidding, Mr. Gruber, began Paddington. I don't think bears are very good at it. Lot 67, a very unusual marmalade stand. Paddington hastily changed his mind. I'd like one of those, he exclaimed excitedly. Mrs. Bird's always grumbling because my jars get sticky. What am I bid for this fine piece of antique silver? 5p, cried Paddington excitedly. 5p, repeated the auctioneer. Did I hear someone say 5p? 6p, said Paddington. If you ask me, said a voice, that young bear knows something we don't. Perhaps it's a fake, said another. No one would bid 6p if it were a real silver stand. Going, said the auctioneer desperately. Is that all I'm bid? Will no one make an advance on 6p? Going, gone. And a very good buy indeed, Mr. Brown, said Mr. Gruber later that day. It more than makes up for the money we lost on your carpentry set and the pistol. It more than makes up for missing our 11s too, Mr. Gruber, said Paddington happily. Besides, I think marmalade tastes even better when it comes out of an antique, especially when it's a 6p one. One morning, Paddington was having breakfast in bed when he came across a very interesting article in one of his magazines. It was called Delight Your Family and Surprise Your Friends, and it showed how to make a magazine rack. All you needed was a sheet of plywood, a hammer, a saw, and a few nails. It sounded very good value indeed. One thing the article hadn't mentioned was how to carry a sheet of plywood and a box of tools at the same time. If it had, he might not have bumped into the Browns' neighbour, Mr. Curry. "Bear," bellowed Mr. Curry. "What are you doing, Bear?" "Do it yourself, Mr. Curry," said Paddington.
"What's that? How dare you?"
"Oh, no, Mr. Curry. I didn't mean you were to do it yourself. I meant I'm going to do it myself. I'm making a magazine rack. Look."
"Magazine rack? Yeah, I'd like a magazine rack, Bear. I'm going out now, so you can use my kitchen table to work on, but don't make too much mess. I don't like messes. If you have it ready for me by the time I get back, I may not report you for banging my nose just now."
"Thank you very much, Mr. Curry." Paddington had never actually sawn anything in two before, and he soon discovered it wasn't as easy as it looked. In fact, it got harder and harder. It wasn't until he sat down for a much-needed rest that he discovered why. Mr. Curry now had two small tables with only 2 legs each, instead of one large table with 4 legs. It was really almost beyond repair. Even covering the join with marmalade and drawing the blind couldn't disguise the fact that it was also very wobbly. Paddington decided he had an emergency on his paws. But when he stood up in order to survey his handiwork, he had yet another shock. Mr. Curry's table seemed to have shrunk. In fact, he couldn't remember ever having seen such a short table before. "Delight your family and surprise your friends," he said bitterly. Paddington was quite sure Mr. Curry would be surprised when he saw what was left of his table, but as for delighting the Browns with a magazine rack, that seemed very far away. Mrs. Bird, however, was delighted with what he'd made them. "Most useful," she said. "And how thoughtful to make 2, agreed Mrs. Brown. Yes, said Paddington, but I'm afraid they're not both for you. This one is really Mr. Curry's, but I'm not giving it to him yet. I shall leave it on his doorstep after dark." "After dark?" repeated Judy. "Whatever for?" "I can guess," said Jonathan. "Look out of the window."
"Bear!"
roared Mr. Curry. "Well, Paddington?" "Perhaps I'd better make Mr. Curry a present of my tools as well," said Paddington. "I don't think I shall be doing it myself again for a long time."